So do you get like a little meal voucher? Do you
Literally,
get like
you get a complimentary voucher that brings you in. You get one meal, one beverage per vehicle.
Right.
So if you bring in a friend, just be expecting to pay for them, or tell your friend to bring their car too.
Wait. So the voucher is actually for the meal, like it covers the cost of the meal too?
Complete cost.
Oh, come on. I didn't know
free
that.
meal.
I thought it was just an entry
No,
ticket.
it is a free meal.
Wow. Hey, what's going on, Sarasota? My name is Brad Hannon.
Trey Martel.
Felipe Colon.
And we've got an awesome guest with us today. We've got Blake Campbell from Lamon's Kitchen. How you doing, Blake?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to talk about Lamon's because from what I understand, it's not just your everyday average restaurant. You know, most people watching this actually probably can't even get in because it's exclusive, huh?
I wouldn't say that. There's many ways you can get in, but it is exclusive.
Well, let's start there. Let's start talking about the ways that you can get in because as soon as we get to talking about the Michelin stars and all this, people are going to be wanting to get in, obviously.
Absolutely.
So how do you get into Lamon's Kitchen?
Yeah, so we're...
Aside from being a loyal listener of Sarasota Speaks podcast.
Exactly. That's one way. The only way you're going to learn is through this podcast, right? But yeah, the goal is to basically just make it a loyalty program in a separate way, right? Completely different. We have over 100,000 customers, to be transparent,
right? With
which
Sarasota
is
Ford.
Massive. You know, just in Sarasota Ford, that includes sales and service, and we just want to be, obviously above the rest.
Yeah.
So we are one of a kind. It's a single restaurant. It's not a franchise, owned by the same owner of Sarasota Ford. And with that being said, I mean, we didn't want it to be open to the public because it defeats the purpose.
Right.
Like if the owner wanted to open a restaurant, we'll open it somewhere downtown, you know, or Lakewood Ranch or somewhere great, which we could open a great restaurant, but we decided to do that inside of a dealership.
I love it.
Different ways to get in.
Okay.
The main way, I always suggest to customers, especially because most people have a car already. Some might be in the market, some might not be in the market, but one way to get in is bring your car in for service.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you name it. You have a hole in
Oil
your tire.
change.
You have a hole in your tire. You want to come get a plug, come to Sarasota Ford.
So do you get like a little meal voucher? Do you
Literally,
get like
you get a complimentary voucher that brings you in. You get one meal, one beverage per vehicle.
Right.
So if you bring in a friend, just be expecting to pay for them, or tell your friend to bring their car too.
Wait. So the voucher is actually for the meal, like it covers the cost of the meal too?
Complete cost.
Oh, come on. I
It's
didn't
a
know
free
that.
meal.
I thought it was just an entry ticket.
It is a free meal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
impressive.
Yeah, you're
Just
agreed
for-
buyer ambassadors, which are our servers, but they're like way above the rest because ultimately at the end of the day, they're, like your own personal concierge.
Yeah.
So whenever you come up, your car's getting worked on, your concierge or ambassador is going to tell you when your car's done. They're going to guide you to maybe, you finish in Lamon's Kitchen. Well, we have many different amenities at Sarasota Ford. We have a massage room. We have a movie theater, a 11-seat movie theater that you can come in, put whatever movie you want on.
Wow.
Surround sound, 156-inch TV. So it's just all these little,
pretty incredible.
different things that
Definitely
keeps you busy.
separating from the rest. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Not your average dealership.
Yep.
Now, do other Sarasota Fords, do other Ford dealerships have similar amenities, or do you guys?
So we actually did a lot of research before opening this. We just wanted to make sure, as we open ours, we didn't want to replicate anyone. So we found a few that actually have, you've heard of Ford's Garage, right? Over at UTC and everywhere. Some Ford dealerships have them next to them, almost like in the same building, but franchised by a whole different company.
Right.
So it adds a little value there. There is a Ford over in Las Vegas that has a restaurant inside, but
It's also in Las Vegas. It's expected.
it's in Las Vegas, and it's not complimentary.
Right.
I can promise you that.
But it's kind of expected to see something crazy like
Correct,
that.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, but right in your own backyard here in Sarasota.
Something very cool.
Which we actually, it's a good segue into. We were talking about it just before we started the show. Lamon's is not just, Ford's Garage inside of Sarasota Ford. I mean, this is a Michelin star chef that curated the menu and all that. So let's talk about that Michelin star and, what it might look like for a restaurant in Sarasota to get a Michelin star.
Mm-hmm. Jose Martinez, he's the owner of Maison Blanc out on Longboat Key.
Yeah.
So originally he had a restaurant over in Paris. That's where he earned his Michelin star. And he earned Michelin star nowadays versus back then are two different things. I mean, you're talking like back then you really had to get down to the nitty-gritty of detail of actual culinary artistry
right.
to be able to order like to receive one of those.
Right.
So he did order it and receive it in that time, which is great. So he actually decided to come over to the States, brought all his staff and everything, which was a really, really cool story just to hear from. And yeah, I mean, once we started opening the restaurant, it kind of started from ground zero. Like, we had a little cafe in Sarasota Ford. Mm-hmm. It was great. Supplied Reuben sandwiches, Philly cheesesteaks, protein smoothies, eggs to order. I mean, it was amazing, just that right there. But we only had, I think, at that point, like 13 seats, and it was very crowded. It was like in a tiny square, maybe 300 square feet almost.
Well, with 100,000 customers,
it was impossible.
13 seats is
90% of the food was to go at that point. So we just wanted to expand it, and we actually wanted to do a really high-end cafe like that. We were just going to extend it, make it more seating, and that was all we were going to do. So we got to that stage, and we thought about it, and we actually all went out to Maison Blanc and had this amazing state-of-the-art Michelin star dinner. And Jose, he was very gracious, brought us out, a couple extra, like what the Michelin star restaurants do, which is always set themselves a little bit different,
right?
And apart from everyone. So what they did, they actually brought out like a dessert, almost like a to-go treat. And when we got that, we were just like, man, imagine if we did that at a car dealership. Instead of people coming up and ordering, at that point it actually was complimentary as well. It was like $8 or something like that. But how cool would it be if you could actually give away something every time someone goes, So we were trying to add on to that, and the owner and I just sat down. We were like, what, let's just open a Michelin star restaurant. And we laughed because we're like, there's no way.
And then here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, now we have, we were actually able to achieve retaining Jose Martinez as our celebrity chef, if you will.
Right.
Because we do have an exceptional executive chef. His name is Joel Casillas. His background is, 15 years in private country clubs. Most of the local ones, the Oaks Club, Heritage Oaks, very, very high-end, diamond-winning type of clubs. So we actually were able to acquire him as well as an exceptional culinary team. So really what we do is we, Jose curates the menu in a Michelin level, and then he gives it to our team, and we execute.
Got it.
How did you get Jose on board?
Well, honestly, we talked to him. We talked to him many, many times. We went out to his restaurant on a regular basis. He's, at his level, most of the things that he does at his restaurant is like, everything in that restaurant's made to order, including the bread that you eat. Wow. So he gets there at 4 a.m. as a restaurant owner, very successful restaurant owner, and Michelin star winner, and he makes the bread. That's the first thing he does at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And so, we were able to go over there, talk to him many times, just kind of pop in and say, hey, we want you for this restaurant. We were trying to find a Michelin star restaurant owner locally, but they don't exist in Sarasota.
And they're probably few and far between.
Correct.
Well, as far as even the Michelin star chefs.
Right.
Few and far between.
Not only that, but also like Michelin, once you receive a Michelin star, you're talking one of the highest statures in the culinary world.
Right.
They're very busy with their own thing. So we actually we bugged them, and we kind of pitched them the new idea. Instead of a cafe, we were now opening a full Michelin star restaurant. And once we did that, he was like, let's give it a try.
How often do you feel that people realize that there's a Michelin chef involved?
A lot of it comes from when we sit the food down, which is amazing. That's our
wow
goal.
Factor.
Well, it's like whenever you sit this down in front of you and you're at a car dealership, you're expecting lower grade automatically. You're at a Ford dealership.
Like a Ford's Garage burger.
Correct.
Well, it's not even that, though. You go to most car dealerships. I go to a few around here. You're lucky if you get a warm cookie. Right. And a nice soda.
Yeah.
Never mind. He window shops.
Never mind.
He goes to a few window shopping. He's like, I'm in the market. What do you got? What kind of cookies you got?
I'll give you my
Listen,
card
the
after this.
cookies are good. Shout out to Victor. His cookies are excellent at BMW Sarasota.
Oh, absolutely.
But in any case, I like to break things down for our viewers, very black and white. Mm-hmm. You have something that only exists in one place in the world. I'm going to say things you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
This is the only restaurant in a car dealership with a Michelin starred chef in the world. There can't be another one.
Correct.
Right?
I would be shocked.
And if there is, I challenge them to come on Sarasota Speaks podcast and make their case.
Yeah.
And part of that is, like you were talking about, we don't have, the Michelin program didn't exist in Florida until recently.
Yep.
You want to talk a little bit about that? since,
I mean,
you're the
we're
expert.
super excited to, we don't have a Michelin star yet. That's the goal. I mean,
And it's not because we don't have a quality restaurant that can maybe get it,
Correct.
right? It just doesn't exist.
most of it's population density.
Right.
That's how Michelin basically gains their traction, no matter what. Realistically, I mean, it'd be really cool if we could, be a Michelin star restaurant that sells Michelin tires. That'd be the
Yeah.
coolest thing in the world.
Well, Felipe educated us recently on the fact that it actually comes from Michelin tires.
It does.
So it's correct.
That
It's
is
true.
correct.
We don't
Yeah.
fact check, but
The
that's
big-
kind of fact check.
Marshmallow guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally
him.
where the Michelin star ratings came
Correct.
Well,
from.
there's like a travel
Great.
guide, if you're traveling through the countryside in France, and
Here's
you
the
want to
good
stop at a
spots.
nice restaurant, Michelin's got you covered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really
Michelin's great. They have a giant guide. Whether you win the award or not, they still do all the area restaurants that are very high end, and they include it in their guide.
Is that only in those high density areas? So they don't even do that.
Yeah, so
for
you can go
Sarasota?
to Tampa, Orlando, Miami. That's
Gotcha.
your main markets right now. I think with the restaurants that are popping up post COVID, there's a whole nother league that you have to be in to be
Yeah.
able to achieve a successful restaurant in Sarasota now.
Yeah,
and if
absolutely.
you don't achieve those individuals right away, that's.
And even
What are
like,
some of your favorite restaurants in Sarasota outside your own?
Yeah, I'm a little biased because I used to work there, but Salvagro is my favorite
Okay.
restaurant.
very good?
No matter what, I mean, that
Definitely in my
place,
top 5 to 10 for sure.
yeah, I mean, I love it. I go there very frequently. Used to work there.
What's your favorite dish?
The rack of lamb. Yeah, 8
Fire.
chops, intertwined,
Fire.
macadamia, pesto crusted, truffle and chive infused risotto.
I'm getting hungry.
Finished
right
with a
now.
rosemary demi-glace. It's unreal.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about
Yeah,
it.
the ownership knows what they're doing over there. They're very excitedly expanding their location to a third location
Mm-hmm.
as well. I mean, that's personally my favorite. I'm maybe biased or maybe not be biased, but I have eaten
Well,
at most restaurants in
Almost
town.
against it, because if you work there, eventually you get sick of it, right? But if you're still saying it's your favorite, then
I
that,
went there on
that
my
just,
days off.
Yeah, that just speaks
And
to how
as a
good it
manager,
actually is.
I was there every single day.
I can say too, on the topic of you have to have a solid concept here to survive. And it's funny because you actually also see that in the development too,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like the developers that are developing these shopping centers and whatnot, they're not letting, the KFCs and McDonald's in there.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for either local or have a local feel of a real concept that, does have a shot, right?
Yeah.
So even the developers gotten smart to who they let in,
Absolutely.
restaurant wise.
Yeah,
And
most leases nowadays are probably 7 years or
Yeah.
more. Most restaurants, you're going to pass or fail in 3 years. So
Right.
it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing about most of those shopping plazas and all that stuff that are coming up, I mean, you're set to a strict guideline. Like you have to be open for lunch.
yeah,
that
which
kinda
is great
idea.
for us in our community.
Absolutely,
For sure.
it's good.
I'm curious, if you guys are giving out all these free meals and whatnot, from a business standpoint, what drives that? I mean, obviously it's going to generate revenue on its own, and you obviously can track some of that back to auto sales and continued service. And even though I get my oil change every 5,000 miles or 3,000, whatever it's supposed to, it doesn't mean I'm going to be coming into Sarasota Ford every 1,000 miles just so I can get a free
Sure.
meal. Maybe
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
for some people.
But the idea is you come in for every 5,000 miles to their shop, and eventually
Right.
they sell you the next truck because
Well-
you're familiar.
Well,
You're familiar with them.
is that
And
true?
you get on their
Because
email
I
lists
didn't
and all
know
that good
Trey
stuff.
was one of the founders of it. I'm teeing up a question for the guest here, buddy.
The speculations are great. I think realistically, the goal is loyalty. So we can work on any make and model minus Lamborghini. I don't want to put that out there. I don't want a Lamborghini pulling up. But with us being able to work on literally every make and
Yeah.
model, including Tesla, we're literally to a point where like, why go anywhere else? Are you going to go to Jiffy Lube and get your meal? You're not going to get a meal. You're going to sit in the waiting room. There's
Yeah.
a water leak, and all you can smell is maybe burnt coffee from the day prior. It's like
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah.
might
there's
smell like grease,
grease,
and
yeah.
whatever else.
But our goal is just like completely set apart. We have an insane customer group. I mean, the loyalty is unbelievable. We're 80% loyalty or more.
wow.
And our goal is to make that 100%. Even if we inch there percent by percent, point of a percent, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That loyalty is ultimately what generates, right?
So
in any business,
the goal for Lamon is never to be necessarily a profitable restaurant
I wouldn't say that. I think because we're not a standalone, we're just part of the
Right.
as others have seen whenever they came and enjoyed the restaurant, we don't have doors.
Yeah, only Trey and Morgan are fortunate enough to have eaten there so
So
far. So me and Felipe, we got a date planned.
Good. We'll make it nice and special.
Bring 2 cars.
Maybe I'll put a 3-course meal on
Bring
the
2
side for you
cars.
guys.
Bring that one over there.
You know, it's funny because a concept like this, a community like this is where it could work.
Yeah.
Because people, I'm a big demographics guy, right?
Absolutely.
And if you look at the types of folks who buy F-150s in particular, like it's not who you think.
F-150s in particular.
Yeah, it's not just construction workers or roofers. It's, not that roofers don't appreciate the finer things in life too, but, a lot of the folks who drive
Like
those
F-150s.
types of everyday vehicles, around here, they have pretty high incomes and they have pretty good taste.
Listen,
Dude, have
at
you
the end
seen
of
the price
day-
of an F-150
Well,
recently?
yeah,
I mean,
that's
they're-
true. That's true,
They're
too.
freaking $100,000. I
Don't
mean,
turn this into a his piece, Brad.
most of the time.
Historically, people don't associate like fine dining with a pickup truck, right?
Right.
But
It's true.
I mean, like you said, the prices of those trucks is up there. The type of community that lives here has really good taste. They've been to Michelin star restaurants,
Yeah.
so they know that design language that you're bringing to them. They know that
Absolutely.
experience that you bring it to them.
Yep. Not only that, I mean, your average F-150 is not just an F-150 anymore. You get in this
The
thing, and I mean,
Platinums
it's
and the-
like,
yeah.
it's. I've had a Mercedes, and now I prefer my F-150.
Yep.
It's like I've had an E-Class. You compare it to this at this point, it's like this is insane.
They're almost, yeah.
You said you had some background in car sales, right, at Ford? Is
I
that
did,
correct?
Yeah. Many years ago. Yeah, I worked for Sarasota Ford 9 years ago.
Is that how the connection with the ownership originally?
Originally, but that connection actually stems back to the Ritz-Carlton. That's where I kind of started my official culinary career.
Okay.
It's way back.
Yeah, let's
when.
get into your background a little bit because
Sure.
you obviously aren't managing that restaurant with auto sales experience,
Right.
right? So you start at the Ritz, like let's
Yeah,
walk
so
through that.
I started at the Oaks Country Club.
Okay.
That's how I know the executive chef
Gotcha.
from years and years, and I think that was 12 years ago at this point. But my father also owned restaurants, so I've been in food and beverage since I was 6. Making club sandwiches at my parents' restaurant, that kind of thing. That was in Pittsburgh, and then he sold his restaurants and came down south. Once he did that, I kind of ventured on my own, went into the Oaks Club, then transferred over to the Ritz-Carlton, tried it out. It was really cool. The Ritz-Carlton is an amazing experience. You get some of the best training in the world, hands down. I mean, anyone that goes in there, you either don't make it because you can't get trained, or they forcefully almost brainwash train you, and it's such an experience.
Yeah.
It's not a demeaning experience in any way, but loved it. It basically grew me up. Turned me into an adult almost instantly. So I started in the rooms category. There's rooms and then there's food and beverage, and then I transferred into I'll call it a hybrid, but it was 50% rooms, 50% food and beverage. And from there, you literally get to sit there day in and day out and think about where you want to make your career. And I chose food and beverage.
naturally.
So I transferred to the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, did some food and beverage supervision there, and then the owner of Selva actually reached out, and from there I kind of
That's how you landed back in
ended
Sarasota.
back in Sarasota.
So then it was from Selva to Le Mans.
Selva to Le Mans, anyone that's worked in food and beverage has tried to escape many times. Some super successful, never turn back kind of
Yeah.
thing, and kudos to them. Congratulate them, but some don't. I left. I actually went and managed a local supplement company. I was their operations manager, Steel Supplements.
Gotcha.
Love them. Love that company. Love Jason. Shout out to him.
Jason's supposed to get on the podcast one of
Is
these
he?
days. He returns
I'll
a text.
call him right now and
There
tell
you
him to
go.
get over here.
We're just gonna send him this clip. We're gonna clip this and send it to him because he hasn't responded like the last 5 or 6 of them. So.
No, he's one of the busiest guys I've ever met in my life.
And he works hard, man. I actually grew up training with him like right out of high school.
That's awesome.
Before it was Steel, when
Yeah.
it was just elite,
Jason,
elite
Jessica,
nutrition
Elite,
or whatever
yeah.
over there. Yeah, and before he had his pro card, and there was never anybody. that store was dead always.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, man, how does he?
Where was
how does
that
he make any
original one?
money?
Because I think I've
it's
seen
right
that,
there. It's
yeah.
still where
Still
Steel
the same
Supplements
spot on
is.
Main Street?
Yeah.
But it was called Elite Nutrition and Smoothie, I believe.
Yeah.
And I would meet him there. Like I'd get out of school or whatever, and I'd get ready. I'd go meet him at the shop, and he'd be sitting on the couch watching some not lazy sitting on the couch, but sitting on the couch eating pounds of chicken and rice, getting ready
Protein.
for a workout. And no foot traffic in that store ever. Like how does he make any money?
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Right.
He stayed disciplined. He stayed focused, and
absolutely.
it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
So,
he told me the amount of debt that he was in at one point, just trying to make his life work.
never
Kudos
flinched
to that
either.
guy. No,
Guy's an
unbelievable.
animal.
An actual animal, yeah.
So you try to get out into supplements.
Yeah, so I did. I did that for 3 years. Loved it. Helped him grow the company from 11 employees to over 100. It was an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
That's where I received some of my management certifications and stuff like that. My degree and my background definitely helped there for sure. But I was reached out by Selva to come back.
You can't escape.
Selva's a hard place to escape because it's such a fun workplace.
Yeah.
It's like most restaurants, you go into work and you're hating your life or whatnot. And that's where they try to escape.
Every time I go into a restaurant, I have a good time.
Were you working in it?
Oh, no.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Probably those lamb chops didn't hurt either, man.
No,
you get that on the regular.
Yeah, but also the culture in Selva is just unbelievable, incomparable to any restaurant ever. Even my experience at the Ritz, like the coworkers, the management, the owner, unbelievable. So, yeah, I was drawn back in, which was great because I went back into a different phase of my life where I loved that. Then I tried to escape again. And I escaped and I went and worked for a company out of Baltimore, and I worked at home. It was during COVID. It made sense.
Yeah.
Had my first little one, my little blessing.
Congrats.
And thanks. And from there, the owner of Sarasota Ford, Matt Buchanan, as well as his CEO, Mirza Velik, they reached out and said, hey, I have this incredible opportunity. What do you think? And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You thought what most people think.
as a manager of any restaurant, you're screen looking and just staring and where's my profit?
Right.
So whenever this was brought to me, it didn't make sense. And we were able to, what was really cool about it was we were able to build it from the ground up.
That's incredible.
It was ours, everything. Any idea, it was just ours. Like Matt Buchanan, he's if not one of the best entrepreneurs locally.
Yeah.
Naturally, he had a knack for creating business, but food and beverage was not his thing.
Hey, we're having a blast here getting to know Blake Campbell with Lamon's Kitchen. If you want to get to know him a little bit more, stay tuned for rapid fire questions.
Hi, I'm Blake Campbell. I'm the restaurant manager at Lamon's Kitchen, and this is Rapid Fire. The Ford GT500, Mustang GT500. Personally, I like the organization of fulfillment and warehouse management, believe it or not.
He's an importer.
Just imports, no exports?
He's an importer-exporter, okay?
It's a total different avenue, but I think that's the goal. Heath Ledger.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Here I come. Oh, here I come.
My wife's a singer, and we sometimes like to sing Traveling Soldier. Cheese. Hated cheese. Probably individuals bringing in their own food for us to cook it for them. I get it. You're in Florida and you want a fresh seafood item, so you just fished and come up with a cooler of fish, but it doesn't work in the restaurant industry.
Fish are friends, not food.
Happiness, yeah, truthfully.
That's what I'm talking about!
Beatles, very easy listening.
It's been a hard
Or avocado toast.
It's the bomb.
So obviously you've been around the restaurant scene in Sarasota a long time, and you probably know what it takes for restaurants to succeed and what some of the stumbling blocks are, the ones that fail, which happens a good amount, right?
Of course.
You guys have one big advantage at your spot is you're not paying rent. Can you talk about how much that impacts the bottom line and
It does.
how that makes the metrics work?
I mean, naturally, like any super successful restaurant is going to come with a background of capital. I mean, if you don't have that capital, unfortunately, you are
hard to survive,
Well, that's what they call them, the mom and pops. They come from nothing. They come in with the debt. They got to crawl them out of the debt. So that's where that 3-year success plan comes into to factor. So, I love not paying rent as a restaurant manager, but a lot of people don't have that opportunity.
Well, and also, I mean, the beauty of it is, like you said, if we can move the needle 0.5%, 1%, and develop that loyalty, I mean, that's huge, right?
It's massive. It generates on the back end, at the end of the day. I mean, and also, I challenge other businesses. It doesn't have to be a car dealership. Imagine if you, have even a local, podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they have a super, super cool restaurant associated with it. You never know.
Well, we're looking to have a super cool menu item named after us in the near future. So we're working towards that. That would be like a Sarasota Speaks burger, or
Nice.
like Sarasota Speaks onion rings, roundabout rings, like Sarasota Speaks roundabout rings, right? Something like that,
These guys love the marketing gimmicks, man. They love it.
But I think so my main business is Medicare, right?
Yeah.
And in Medicare right now, retention is just the hottest topic, right? Sure. Because there is a lot of competition, but there's also a lot of people making plan changes and being able to keep your clients for longer than 18 months or whatever the industry standard would be is extremely difficult. So how do you overcome that? Well, I think you start by thinking way outside the box, and that's exactly what you guys have done, is think way outside the box. I mean, here, let's not just have a restaurant where people can eat so that they love to come back. Let's make it like the best restaurant they could possibly, dine at, which, I mean, I feel like aside from Jose's other restaurant, right, which he's obviously the chef at, it would be really hard to have a Michelin type experience in Sarasota outside of a couple of options, right?
Absolutely.
One being Lamon's, the other being his restaurant on the Key. And I don't know of any others, to be honest with you. But
I mean, there are 3 in Tampa. And
that's close.
Yeah, and there are 2 new Bib Gourmand selections, which are kind of like the,
almost
there, but also affordable and like, up and comers.
Yeah.
So I think
There's
that's
not a
pretty
line
cool.
to get in.
And if they want to learn about that, they can tune into the Tampa Speaks podcast.
Well, I mean, stay tuned, I guess, right?
So where do we go from here when it comes to Le Mans? I mean, you guys expanding at all? Is it is it pretty much?
Yeah, so our goal is to obviously, like, we forecasted, a year or 2 out at this point, which is great. We had our first quarter, which was amazing, way better than we could have ever imagined turning
awesome.
out. A lot of that goes to our team. I mean, like, not just me, my servers, my ambassadors, my chef team, my leadership team. I mean, we have truly successfully opened a restaurant, which is very hard to do. And also a restaurant that, people want to come back.
Yeah.
We have, I would say 90% of our clientele say, hey, can we bring a friend to lunch tomorrow? Do they have a car? He's getting on change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm curious what the response has been like from the customers, because, like you said, when Matt and his team first approached you, you said, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. Did people come in initially saying, this is crazy, and then leave with singing a different tune?
Most of the time, I'm just picking up jaws off the floor. I mean, it is
shocked.
Just shocked. And shocked it also whenever I hand them their invisible bill, that's where they're even more shocked. They feel obligated almost.
See, I did not. That's one thing that I definitely didn't know, is that they're not paying for the food after, right? And
Correct.
I feel like, that's crazy. That's like really giving the whole, kitchen sink away right there.
Yep.
How often do you have customers that come in that don't know the gig and they're not getting their car service and they just show up for lunch? And how do you handle it?
A good amount. We have a method to our way.
He says, how did you get here? Did you walk or did you drive?
No, we have a lot of individuals that kind of come in and they help themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, when you do walk in, it does look like almost like a seat yourself type of cafe. I mean, it's super refined. You would think that your average individual would at least come and say hello, but some people just sit down, and we welcome that. But most of the time it is those individuals that are just uneducated about the restaurant. Like, we are a restaurant that's here to cater to you, just like every other restaurant. We just ask that you do something at our dealership,
Right.
So we just educate them. That's our most largest goal. We might send them off with like a croissant, a cappuccino, something from our.
Don't get any ideas, people.
I know everyone like I got
Tell them to get
Now
their
everyone's like,
tires.
oh, so they don't kick you out. We can go get a free
coffee,
croissant.
croissants. Yeah, I'll up our croissant.
But they can
order
just go get their
numbers.
tires rotated. I mean, who doesn't need that, right?
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
come
there's
on.
so many ways
Actually, I
to come
need
in and
that. Everybody needs
experience,
that.
and that's what we do. We just invite them to come experience it because, like I said, it's not just the restaurant; it's the personnel that work at Sarasota Ford. Like
Yeah.
you come in, you truly do feel like royalty. I bought 3 cars at Sarasota Ford even before I worked here.
Yeah.
And every single time I bought one, I've left with nothing but greatness.
Yeah, I think Sarasota Ford has probably the best, if of any dealership in Sarasota, the best location to have a Michelin restaurant. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right around the corner from downtown. You're right on the way, out to the Key and on Tamiami Trail. So obviously, it makes a lot of sense. I'm curious how much new business Lamon's generated versus how much it really has just kind of catered towards that loyalty. Because I'm going to take my freaking car there. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to take my tires need rotated on my truck. My wife's car, I was literally just saying this morning, hey, remind me later, like your air filter life, oil life, all that. Look at that stuff, and because I think we need to get a service on this thing. I forgot all about it, and now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take it to Sarasota Ford. Obviously,
Yeah.
makes sense. So,
Well,
what's the breakdown?
It's great.
How do you track that stuff too?
Yeah, I mean the traceability. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but I mean generation, no matter what, like revenue generation
Right.
is just where it's at. I think we're doing well. We're only 1 quarter in. We had amazing PR. We were on ESPN. We were on all the local news stations. It was such a great turnout. I thank every single one of them for having
Yeah.
us, including yourselves. I mean, it's really, really such a pleasure to be here. But I think ultimately, like we have individuals that just come in, and they say, "Hey, I'm here for this reason." We have individuals that come in. I had a realtor that came in. They came in and they happened to have 5 cars, and they brought all 5 cars that week. I swear to you, they
Yeah,
were there
I
every
bet.
day. And it was great because guess what? We're a lounge that's made for our customers. That realtor came in and did his whole business. He was there for 4 hours each day. And he was able to just enjoy himself,
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
These realtors are
In a
crafty,
way.
man.
They're very crafty, yeah. They need a new office, come to Lamon's Kitchen.
Bring your car. You're
Yeah,
good.
but it's great. I mean, we have also we have 220 employees, which is a huge employee base. We feed all 220 employees out of here. What that means is all of our employees actually get to try all our food.
Yeah.
We literally don't have freezers in the restaurant. Truthfully, I'm not lying. I invite you into my kitchen
To find a
look.
freezer.
I have 2 stand-up coolers. That's it.
Wow.
That's how fresh this restaurant is. And so, whenever you have individuals that have been eating McDonald's, which is almost, they created an arch to get to McDonald's from Sarasota Ford because
Right.
that's how close it is.
Right, for real.
Our goal is to close that arch,
Yeah.
have them come to Le
So
Mans.
that's a hell of an upgrade. Your employees go from eating McDonald's to
They feel better.
Michelin star
Yeah.
chef, and
And
guess what? They're
naturally-
talking in the community about it too every
Yeah.
day. I'm sure.
That's my point. Our 220 employees, they advocate for
That's
it.
your hands and feet.
Absolutely.
Right there, yeah.
They're the
Your
mechanics.
guerrilla marketing.
Without them, we're nothing.
You want to do a little bragging about Sarasota Ford and their numbers that they do and where you guys rank in Florida?
Before we get off Le Mans Kitchen, we got to dig into the menu a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Sarasota Ford is awesome, but this is really about Le Mans, and I got to know, I saw the Bites episode and what they had, but I got to know your favorites, or let's just go through the menu.
Well, it's really cool. We have some upcoming, a lot of our menu items right now, that's from our initial launch. We wanted to open the doors. However we could do that, we did it. So we did it in an exceptional way.
Mm-hmm.
Avocado toast started with toast with guacamole on it. Now it's avocado toast on homemade sourdough bread with a fresh avocado spread, poached egg on top. So everything's evolving.
Right.
Personally, it's my favorite, the avocado toast.
Okay.
I have one every single day for lunch.
There
I
you
feel
go.
great going home. I don't eat it like McDonald's or whatever
Yeah.
other bad pub subs. Oh my
Right.
gosh. But the nice thing is we're doing seasonal menu changes. So we're up for our first season at the end of the day, right? So a little sneak peek, but we're actually adding filet mignon onto our menu.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, you did. So we're adding filet mignon on our menu. We're adding, a fresh seafood dish on the menu, completely elevating from where we're at right now to the next level.
So what do you have right now? You have the avocado toast. You've got
Avocado toast, short ribs that are braised overnight for 16 hours braising. They probably just put them in the oven right now. They come in at 2, 3 o'clock to start
Awesome.
prep. Yeah, our prep starts at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. What else? I mean, our chicken sandwich is just alone. It's like everything's hand breaded. As well. You know, we don't come in with like anything that's pre-breaded, pre-made, nothing. I think the most pre-made thing in the restaurant is like our ketchup for the French fries, if you want it. That's like it.
Right. And even that's probably going to change over time.
Absolutely, yeah. With our Michelin star chef, absolutely. He comes
makes
over, tastes it. Nope, it could be better, and I agree wholeheartedly.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we have the chicken sandwich. We have a Parmesan dusted Caesar salad, which is like unheard of in terms of its preparation. I mean, we'll take a whole romaine heart, slice it in half. We take blackened chicken, layer it within the actual layers of the romaine lettuce, crust homemade anchovy-based Caesar dressing over top of it, and then a homemade sourdough crostini on top. And whenever you get it, you're like, this salad is hot.
I don't even want to eat it. It looks so beautiful.
It does. It looks so beautiful, and it also, you just taste it, and you're like, this is like just the fact that you're actually able to roast something, lettuce, and change the flavor to be something great. Like a lot of people don't think like that little touch, you know.
Yeah.
So
what was your favorite, Morgan?
I liked the chicken salad.
Did you?
Is that the one?
Really
is that the
good.
one? Is that
We
the one
worked
he's
very
talking about?
hard on that
Basically,
one.
the one he's explaining. Oh, the chicken salad
the chicken
sandwich.
salad. Yeah.
Okay.
We have like a
The fried
Waldorf
chicken
style.
sandwich was good.
Gotcha.
I also like the gelato.
What was your
And the
favorite,
coffees
Trey?
are super cute.
The fried chicken sandwich.
Fried chicken sandwich.
Juicy.
Juicy. Juicy. Better than KFC.
Trey, you could work for Michelin. How do you like the meal? Juicy.
All right, so now we can segue into.
I don't even want to ask it anymore. No, Sarasota Ford. We were talking off air that you guys have all kinds of accolades for Florida. Do you want to do some bragging on where you guys rank as far as Ford dealerships?
Yeah, so our region's based out of Orlando, technically. So like that would be the whole region of Florida, a little bit north, a little bit west as well.
Yeah.
But we are ranked number 2.
Of which, all Ford dealerships?
All Ford dealerships in our region, which is well over 100
Wow.
dealerships. There's 4,400 nationwide. Our goal this year is to be the top 1% of the 1%. I mean, and we're inches away.
Awesome.
Which is great because now we have a Michelin star
So
restaurant to help us get
what
there.
drives that sales and service?
Sales and service,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, but it's more, naturally Ford dealerships, you might go to a Ford dealership or, any listeners out there might have went to a Ford dealership and had a really bad experience. So now Ford sucks.
Right.
And that's not how it should
Right.
be.
Right.
It should be like this specific dealership is not good.
Right.
Versus our dealership that's really good. So that's where it's like we're trying to change their minds and renegotiate the liking of Ford again.
Yeah.
And that's where Sarasota
Again,
Ford
I don't know
comes
if
in.
Ford ever had an issue. Maybe I didn't know about it. But I've
It's-
always been a Ford guy. I drive a
Yeah.
Chevy, but I love
Yeah.
Fords. I mean,
Yeah, a lot
always.
of it's based on maybe personal choice, of course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like when we work on any make and model, we mean it. You
Right.
know? My wife has a Subaru. I get it serviced at my dealership.
I'm getting it serviced at your dealership too. Like, babe, let's get lunch. Get your oil changed,
There you
and
go.
we're gonna get lunch at Lamon's.
There you go.
I heard it's free. I
Yeah.
wasn't interested until I heard the meal ticket's free. So
Yep.
Literally a meal ticket, right?
for real.
Actually,
Well, that's awesome. Before we jump into some more Sarasota-based questions, I just wanted to kind of open it up to see if there's anything that we haven't shared. I mean, you already previewed a new menu item,
Yeah.
right, on here, so that's cool. They heard it here first. But anything else, like big plans, announcements, things like that we wanted to get off or get out before we jump into some Sarasota stuff?
yeah. I mean, Sarasota Ford is just growing. I encourage you, any way, shape, or form. This is just one avenue for you to come check it out. Come say hello. Any reason, whether you're in the market or not.
Dope custom shop too.
Yeah,
They got-
our
they
custom
got-
shop
yeah.
is awesome. They work on my truck all the time. I mean, they work on all our
You
clients' trucks.
F-150?
Yeah,
Yeah, see, F-150 guys.
Yeah.
Felipe nailed it.
yeah. At the end of the day, our custom truck shop can do anything,
Yeah.
and they work on SUVs. They trick out our expeditions to be like, fully matte black, murdered out, awesome expeditions.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to 707. Yeah, they are.
You
awesome.
see it on the street corner there. That's why the location's so good. I mean,
It
you drive
is.
past that every day.
Yep.
Like, eventually, you're going to want to buy one of those damn trucks,
Yep. Yeah,
Well, Trey, I'll pass it over to you, my man.
Yep. So Tominator Law wants to know what your thoughts are on roundabouts. Do you love them? Do you hate them?
Or are you indifferent?
I would, truthfully, roundabouts.
If you need an example, there's one right there to your left.
Yeah. Oh, is that the big? Oh, that's the UTC one.
you're gonna get entranced. It like as soon as you
I think
look over,
roundabouts are good and bad. I think good because maybe it's just constant flow of traffic. I actually was not born and raised here like some individuals, so they see the negative aspects of it. I live 40 minutes away from here. I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the roundabouts is one reason why. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's traffic. I can't deal with traffic. I don't know if these help. I don't know the background on these. I don't even know like why they're putting all these in.
Well,
so
being on this side of the table and having heard so many opinions on people that are both educated on roundabouts and not, I think the consensus is that they don't break when we have hurricanes, right? Like you don't need electricity for them. You don't need to put a police officer at them. And no matter what, if there's an accident or not, you're going a lot slower approaching the roundabout than if you were,
to block
heading
lanes
towards a green light that was turning yellow and you were speeding up to go through it or something like that. But one thing that I will say, and I couldn't wait till we talked roundabouts, because last week, and this was on the roundabout on Clark east of the interstate. Like, there's two. There's the one that's takes you over like to Proctor or whatever, and then there's the other one that takes you like to Lorraine. Well, I was in that second one, and I kid you not, the person that was in the roundabout stopped and yielded to the freaking person that was stopped waiting to enter the roundabout. And I'm following them, and I almost rear-ended them because they stopped to let this person into the freaking roundabout. And I'm like, beep, watch Sarasota Speaks, learn how to use this damn roundabout.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. That was the worst experience I've seen, and people certainly don't know how to use them.
Yeah,
so.
I think the construction of them is probably the worst experience.
There's a new one. There's a new one coming up, and we're actually petitioning it for the name. So Sarasota Speaks Roundabout.
That'd be pretty cool.
Hopefully we can pull it off.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Send me this petition. I'll get 200 employees to sign it.
There you go. Don't give them any ideas. Then it might be the Sarasota Ford Roundabout.
There you go.
They got a little bit of juice around here.
I know, right? The Lamon Roundabout. Well, Felipe, I'll pass it over to you, buddy. You can close us out.
One of the other things we also like to ask, in addition to other thoughts you have about the area, we already talked about your favorite restaurants, but we're always looking for other like-minded guests who have an interesting story to tell and would translate very well to what we do here. So do you have any folks you'd recommend who you think would enjoy doing this and getting their story out?
The community needs to hear from.
Yeah, earlier, Jason Hahn, I invite you. Send him this podcast.
Yes, we're sending the clip for sure.
He's one of the strongest and most successful entrepreneurs I've ever met.
Not just physically either.
No,
right?
not physically. I mean, don't Google Jason Hunter. You might get a little scared. He's a big dude. But he's built different. So him, as well as any of his colleagues that are, work alongside of him, everyone that he works with is just extremely successful. So that would be my number one go-to. I would love to, invite my ownership team, but unfortunately, they're just so busy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, they're too busy to handle a lot of stuff.
It's okay. We'll get Vern on here. We'll get Vern.
Well,
listen,
we're in some talks. He's just, he's really busy between the session and community responsibilities. So.
Yeah.
But even folks that are outside the box a little bit, I mean, I know we focus a lot on entrepreneurs here, and for good reason. There's a lot of great stories in Sarasota there.
Who's the contact at Selva? Who's the right person there?
Well, probably like the general manager or AGM, Mario Di Fiore. Okay. Yeah, he's assistant general manager.
The thing that stuck out about them that you said was, just a fun place to work, all the way from ownership to management to every employee.
But also consistency. I mean, I was there for 7 years. Nothing changed from day one to year 7. Nothing.
Interesting.
And that is like unheard of. You know? So Mario was there from the very beginning of Selva. That is, anyone that listens might know. It's
definitely
Mario.
a story we got to get on here for sure.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I think we all just enjoy the restaurant. Didn't know.
Yeah.
And you always see, like, the staff is always happy. I mean, most recently I was at the UTC one at the bar, and server was great, happy, talkative. But maybe that's just her, right? In my head. But no, it seems like
it's
now
everyone.
that I think about it, it's every experience I've had.
Our turnover rate there was like 0%.
Yeah, a lot of the people who were there have been there as long as I can remember.
Right.
Most of the one downtown, which says a lot.
Yeah, when I first came downtown, that was hilarious. I was a brand new employee, and the next of tenure was like 7 years, and I'm like, this is what I'm competing with, you know.
Yeah.
And they show me the resume stack that's like, you know, a box deep kind of thing, and there's a reason. It's the culture, you know.
That's awesome.
It's a very
I got a new Sarasota question that I just sort of thought of. You mentioned you worked in Naples for a while, right? I'm kind of curious, you know, the Sarasota versus Naples, like, what are the differences in the community, the culture, working there? Because a lot of times we get compared to Naples.
Yeah.
You know,
I think Sarasota to Naples was better prepared, is what my opinion is. They have bigger roads. They have, you know, less traffic. You know, the homes were already starting up whenever it was becoming big. So I think they were just very successful on their creation of Naples, basically.
And some infrastructure in place.
Absolutely, yeah, very much so. The jobs there, everyone is happy. You know, it's a great place to live, and work. But unfortunately, you know, as the prices of, you know, a very successful location are, they just raise and raise and raise. So it pushes out a certain demographic. You know, I think Sarasota is overcoming all of these, you know, infrastructure problems, and you know, it's the next Tampa.
It's a little bit cheaper than Naples, and
Just a little bit,
and a little bit cheaper than Miami.
Yeah, but eventually, I think it will, and that's where, you know, other areas like even south of here, Welland Park, like Northport, those kind of areas. I mean, those are super upcoming. I love taking my daughter to Welland Park.
Yeah,
it's such a cool experience.
It is.
You know, it's like taking your daughter to Marina Jack without the construction.
someone
without the construction.
Someone had told me that Naples is Northport, excuse me, is like the fastest growing city in America last year.
It is.
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, they're putting a new Sarasota Memorial Hospital there, so that right there tells you how fast
Right.
it's growing, you know.
Well,
yeah.
Well, listen, Blake, it's been great having you on.
Yeah, thanks for
really
having
appreciate
me.
the insight. You should see me at Lamon's Kitchen sometime in the next couple weeks for sure. I was really upset that Morgan and Trey got to taste it before, but thank you so much for joining us.
Such a pleasure.
man.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great meeting, man. Thank you.